A very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the last edition of the show for the week. Promises to be exciting as always. From the city of Lagos, right here in Nigeria, I'm Yemi Adebayo.
I think it's appropriate to start with. Thank God it's Friday in London. I'm Austin Okonakpan. Welcome on board.
All right, as we speak, second semifinal is currently going on in the men's singles of the semifinal, and it looks like Casper Ruud is going to pull off a major upset. It leads 2-1. Well, we'll be talking about that. Hopefully, before we end the show tonight, we should be able to tell our viewers of who will be facing Rafael Nadal, who, by the way, is true to his 14th final at the French Open. We talk about all of that as we move on the show. A quick rundown of what to expect on the show tonight. We'll give you a slice of handball. We'll talk about Taekwondo. We'll also talk about the girls, the Flamingos, Nigeria's female under-17 national team. They are one step away from the FIFA Under-17 World Cup. We'll talk about them as we move on the show. We will also talk about the Nigeria Professional Football League, some decisions taken by the league management company. We talk about them, especially the ones that concern 3SC. We talk about that as we move on the show. We will also take a look at the French Open to look at what is happening. Tomorrow we're going to have a final on our hands. Coco Golf will be up against Iga Swiatek. It's going to be very interesting. Then, of course, we will also continue to revert to that semi-final currently going on, if there's anything to tell you about in that one. So that's just what we're going to be discussing on the show tonight. Austin, before we introduce our partner on the show tonight, let's start with this one. Wasn't a good one at the French Open. Happened today, right before our eyes. Alexander Zverev, of course, got injured even in a very nasty way. He was fighting hard, battling hard against Rafael Nadal, made Rafael Nadal sweat in the first set that he won. Too many tie breaks, many fight backs, saving match points. Then while leading in the second set, Nadal drew level, and in the course of that game, twisted his ankle and lights out.
Lights out, I mean, and that's what we're saying, that just one unfortunate incident and it's over at a big competition, such as a Grand Slam event. So, sorry, I feel so bad. I feel so bad for Zverev, because he has actually been so impressive at this competition. And as we discussed yesterday, we're hoping that, some of those guys that we've not been talking about often, make it to the finals. But Nadal also had his own scare. Remember, he's been nursing a crucial foot injury. So his team, they were telling him the same thing, that you need to be careful so you don't hurt yourself. So I think what Zverev did was he pushed too hard. I think power play, you should give it up to Nadal. And when you play Nadal in the semis on clay, you got to be more strategic and tactical. I think he gave so much. And there's nothing wrong with giving so much. But we see these things happen a lot in tennis, and ouch, gracious goodness, it hurts. And this is one guy who has shown a lot of dedication to his tennis career. This is one of the guys who think can make us stop talking about Rafael Nadal, Roger Federer, and Novak Djokovic. And you can even tell that Nadal had to go, show some love, show some solidarity, because this can happen to anyone. So get well soon, Zverev. You're a champ anytime, any day. I like the attitude it brings, on the court, and that's the hallmark of
that's the
a
moment.
champion all day, every day. Yeah.
That was a heartbreaking moment.
Yeah.
Twisted that ankle.
We see this also in football. We see it in basketball. We see sports persons, these things are inevitable, It's just Murphy's Law. Whatever will go wrong on the worst possible day. And that's just what happened to this young guy, and we just want to wish him all the best and hope to see him back on court soon.
All right. Okay, let me just quickly bring in Alfred Okoligwe also. He joins us tonight as we take a look at everything happening in the world of sports. Greetings to you, Alfred. Thanks for finding out time to be with us. Let's just quickly talk about Alexander Zverev. We might not get the chance to, so let's just get it out of the way. I mean, your thoughts when that injury happened?
Good evening, Yemi. Good evening, Austin. Excited to be here. Sports is, whether you like it or not, an integral. Injury is an integral part of sports. We've seen it happen, like Austin did mention. We've seen it happen over and over again. We've seen sports stars where you expect to come to the party, an injury. Just the other day in the Europa Conference League final, someone like Mkhitaryan was out for a long period, and they just managed him before you know it, make it to the pitch. He didn't even last as much as 3-4 minutes out of the game. These are the things that you don't wish for, but sometimes it does happen. And you also have to give it up to those great sportsmen out there. We've seen even the more tragic ones, people passing on and the rest of them. So people will say, it's sports is just play. It is not. It's a serious business. Sometimes the line between being alive and passing on is a very thin line. And it's just unfortunate that he has to be zero today, getting injured. But for Rafa Nadal, hey, you have to rewrite the history books again. He's 121 already. We thought the other guys could catch up with him. Djokovic could catch up with him. He didn't. He was beating the quarterfinals. Now, if the way it's going, if he wins this one, means that he will notch up to 22.
Yeah.
It then means that it will take somebody, maybe Djokovic, to win another 2 Grand Slam to rival him. It's just this guy is just phenomenal. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a shame that he had to be Zverev, but in sports you take everything that comes your way.
All right. In sports, you take everything that comes your way. All right, that's how we want to start the show tonight, our hearts and mind with Germany's Alexander Zverev. All right, guys, let's just come home now and start the show properly. Let's start with handball on the show and talk about the first phase of the handball Premier League that has just ended. And of course, we will be talking about Kano Pillars, who produced an inspiring performance to end the first phase of that championship. They ended it as the leaders. They had an outstanding 40 points to 33 points victory over Lagos Seasiders to remain unbeaten with 33 points. Safety Shooters moved to the second position after defeating Niger United to the 6 points to 23. In the women's category, Safety Babes continued their winning streak as they defeated Plateau Peacocks 32 points to 28 to top the table with 27 points. Debutants Rima Queens moved to second position after they defeated Seasider Babes 32 points to 18. The eventual champions will emerge in Lagos when the second phase begins. And of course, as you know, Safety Babes and Canopilas leading the way. Let's just quickly listen to some reactions as we look forward to the second phase after the conclusion of phase 1.
The happiest thing for me is to see a lot of young talents moving from under 12 level into the senior level and even winning awards as most valuable players during the event. A lot of people that played in under 12 in 2018 are already playing at the senior level, and that's what I want to see. I want to see people transcend from the younger level to senior level. One of the novel things we did this time was to bring some of our foreign referees from the Confederation of African Handball. We have a pair from Morocco. We also have a female pair from Gabon. I think together with our guys, they've uplifted the quality of what we saw here. Even the chief referee for Africa is also around, and every day he was doing a lot of trainings. He was engaging himself trainings with a lot of our referees. Even our younger referees who were not here to officiate also came. And I think we had over 50 of them who came to learn. So alongside the Prudent Energy Handball Premier League competition, there was also the training for the referees just to upgrade and enhance their capacity to officiate. And even the ones that were invited for this Prudent, you could see that every time the chief referee for Africa was helping them, making corrections here and there, and we all saw it in the output that finally came out. We hope to do that again in the second phase so that our referees can be seen at the international stage too and not just do things at a local level. So we're trying to do everything possible to see how we can keep upgrading the quality of the league.
All right. The president of the federation, Samuel Ocheo, speaking there. And like they say, when you do your job, you don't have to scratch your head. I mean, you could stand in front of journalists and be confident to answer questions. I don't know if Austin shares my view, but you look at some of the federations who have gotten praise over the years. You see when they answer questions, they don't really have to struggle because some of the things they're doing is reflecting.
Because knowledge is power, and just put a little bit of passion to it, you start getting results. And that's the story of handball since Samuel Ocheo and his team took over in 2017. And this is what we talk about, is a league with structure, a league with ideas. Did you see that he didn't just talk about the competition alone? He said it is producing young stars. That's one. He talked about infrastructure too. He talked about refereeing, that our referees can learn from these. He talked about us having a pool of players we can go to for the national teams. That's why it's important to have a league. It's systemic. And that's why I just want to say good kudos to Samuel Ocheo and his team. I think it's about the 4th or 5th edition. It's not just going strong, it's producing players for the country. It has a sponsor. Tells you that if you put the right people in the right positions, sports in this country will do well. For Kano Pillars, they're defending champions, and Safety Babes, defending champions of the men and the women's category. And you could tell that because they look forward to this competition, they are going strong. Kano Pillars ended the first phase unbeaten. Same thing with Safety Babes. And unless something dramatic happens in the second phase in Lagos, they might just go on to retain their title. But shout out to Rima Queens, Yemi, Alfred, debutants in the league, already doing well. They are second on the women's category. You see what the league can do. Remember 2 seasons ago, the Adorable Angels from Ilorin, a small handball team, came into the league. They were also debutants and they won. These are beautiful stories that you can tell with sports when you have the right persons, at the helm of affairs. And Alfred, you talk about handball a lot, particularly with Imo Grasshoppers. They've come with a lot of history. This sort of competition is giving us an opportunity to still talk about Imo Grasshoppers.
I mean, that's the legendary Grasshoppers of Owerri team when it comes to handball. History of the sport cannot be written by anybody without a mention. Time was when handball used to rival football because we had events in the days of the 80s, the days of the Adenoko as president of the association. I mean, it kept them busy. We made our name. We made stars. But then, and you mentioned Samuel Ocheo. This is an association that is in the forefront now. You can't look at all platforms of the media, traditional media, social media, everywhere. There is something that they are doing. And I think the bringing in of coaches from the continent, including the chief coach of the continent, is something different. I mean, because you're developing not only the sport, you are deepening it by training the officials, because that is key. At the end of the day, if there's a tournament and you don't get you don't have officials that are up to scratch, you won't be invited. And I think, taking that development to that direction is something that is quite commendable. And of course, it will open new vistas, new opportunities for sports, because sports say they has the power to transform lives. And for 1 or 2 people that will be, beneficiaries of this kind of training, this kind of opportunities, I mean, it must be said that they will not only be lifted, and of course, they and their surroundings will feel the impact of what handball is doing in the country. And I think the federation should get all the commendation for what they've done so far.
I totally agree with you, Alfred. So that's the story of the Handball Premier League. First phase concluded in Abuja, waiting for the second phase in Lagos. And as Alfred talked about, the players, the clubs, officials, referees, everyone will be looking forward to the next phase. That's what having a good league can do. It's Sports Tonight on Channels Television. We started with tennis. Now we've talked about handball. Let's get into Taekwondo. Now you know it's a sports show. Nigeria is getting ready for the 2022 African Union Championship. Where is it taking place? in Kigali, Rwanda. And with that, the Nigeria Taekwondo Federation, they're holding the national trials at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja. And over 150 Taekwondoists are looking for sports at that championship. The national trials will feature Taekwondo disciplines like Kumshe and Kryugi. Elizabeth Anyanacho. Do you remember Elizabeth Anyanacho? She represented Nigeria in Taekwondo at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. She will compete there. Remember Uzamaka Otwadima? She's an African champion. She will also feature Chinazom Wosu, also an African champion. She will be there. Former Dennis Shala Ulowokere and Abdulmujib Sanusi, some of the athletes that are expected to represent Nigeria at the African Championship. The president wants everyone, including the media, Yemi, Alfred, and Austin, to support what they are doing to ensure that Taekwondo gets better in the country. Let's take a listen and we'll be right back.
We have an African G4 tournament coming in Rwanda in June, and we felt the best way to go about it is to call in a national trial where we'll be able to get the best out of the best from our athletes. Even though we have ranked athletes, it's not enough. We need to keep them on their toe. By calling for national trials, the ranked athlete will prove their worth, and we also discover new upcoming athletes. We don't want to take any chances where we allow them space to go and rest. In February, we were in Niger. We didn't go with a full squad, and we were able to record about 3 gold medals, 2 silver, and 3 bronze. So you could imagine when we go with a full team, and maybe our top-ranked Team A national team would have come with the overall trophy. So we don't want to make that mistake, and we felt the best thing is by the time we keep doing national trials, it will keep our athletes on their toe and at their peak. Apart from what you are seeing here, there's going to be continuous trials and camping occasionally, maybe let's say quarterly, on quarterly basis, so that even if there is no international championship, that tournament, the local trials, will keep them up and doing.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree that's a good thing to do, because we've said over and over again that it's not only when we have competitions that we get to hear presidents talk about national trials or competitions. When we're not having anything to do outside the country, you must put in place programs that will get these athletes busy.
Yeah, that's it. And we've always talked about you telling us your program and us seeing you following it, us asking you questions, and we getting the right answers. Don't just let us assume, and then don't go to the press only when you are having financial issues, because a lot of these federations have turned media men to their mouthpiece, and they only do that when they have problems. When everything is going on well, you don't get to hear anything.
Don't hear from them.
But you look at federations where they can comfortably stand in front of media men and say, this is what we're doing, this is what we hope to achieve, this is what we're going to do next month, and all that. It's heartwarming. And if we continue like that, we're going to reap the benefits of all of that. All right, let's move on the show. It's time to talk about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Of course, the U.S. tour have come to an end. The results we wanted, not the ones we got, but then again, it's good that we were able to get a few games under our belt as we played 2 friendlies. We joked about it, that they had better not lose, but eventually they did lose. And so that's what happened. They lost to Ecuador, 1-0 loss to Ecuador, and that's how the game ended for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. 2 friendly matches in the month of June, all ending in losses. 2 losses the beginning of Jose Pizarro's stint as the coach of the Super Eagles. Let's talk about the Super Eagles. I want to go to Alfred. 2 matches under Jose Pizarro. Early days, we have to accept. But when you begin to read in the dailies, you begin to read in mails forwarded, and you begin to read stories like we achieved our aim, we played well, then you begin to look at what is happening here. Yes, the team can lose, But some of these comments sometimes rub off in a way, especially if fans are still hurting.
Well, I mean, the truth of the matter is you can afford to lose games in friendlies. Yes, fans are hurting. Everybody is hurting. The Super Eagles now is not in a place where they want to be. We're not going to the World Cup. The reality is that we are not good enough. If we have been good enough, we have been playing in the World Cup. And so I think the earlier we pick ourselves up and do the needful, I think that needful has started in the way where we prepared. Yes, they've lost 2 games on the bounce, but on the balance of how they've been able to carry themselves in after that after what was the Ghana debacle, I think it's been impressive for the players that showed up. The effort that they put into these games, yes, they may have lost. I think what for any good team, what you do after a loss like this is to learn lessons. I will be happier or I will be sadder if we lose a crucial game that we needed to win, maybe in a competitive situation. If we lose that, it will be better. For friendlies, I don't like reading into friendlies. We've seen games where little or nothing is at stake. I will dissipate all of our energies to win more like a friendly game. The Africa Cup of Nations, the third game, for example, we made effort to make sure we win so that we get 9 points on the bounce. But that third game was almost like a dead rubber. Now when it got to the crucial one, we couldn't get it. That disappointment set in. So I think we just have to give the man the chance that he needs to work. Give him all the support he can get. Give the players all the support they can get. Good news is that some of the players that made their debut for the Eagles, especially the home-based players, 1 or 2 of them have been able to impress him. The more we see them, the better for us. We don't want to a situation where we hear that of a league of a country where so much is spent as in players, you put in players, you cannot find 1 or 2. We don't want to hear that kind of situation. We should give the man the opportunity. And the feelings I'm hearing is that he's excited about working here. He wants to stay in Nigeria and do the work. I think that it would be a positive vibe, not after 2 days, you tell us you want to go and see all the players that we watch on TV every day, you want to go and see them and come back, and you say there's none back home here to see. So let's give him the opportunity, let's give him the chance. Westhoff lost his opening games, and the first game against Cameroon in qualifiers, he lost. I mean, but over the years, we saw what he could be able to do. I don't think these 2 friendly games are enough to judge Pasero whether he can do the job or not. Let's just give him all the support he can get. The team needs it at this time.
All right, quickly, let me throw this one in. There have been views, on both sides about the inclusion of the home-based players. And in your opinion, do you think the experiment should continue and that those boys actually need to be given time before you could say, hey, this one is good enough to be here or this one is not good enough to be here?
I don't want to look at it as an experiment. I want to see it as an equal opportunity for everybody. I don't want to buy the line that you play a league like this, or you have a league, you have players, not 1 or 2, can measure up. The case is we can also look at this as the politics of the game. Recall the last World Cup that we attended. Teams teams in South Africa got paid for appearing at the World Cup. That's just the politics of it. At the end of the day, what do we do by not giving opportunities? Some of the players who even took to the World Cup didn't get to play. So, the clubs where they are got paid for the player going to the World Cup. If those money that we throw around will bring them back home, it will still create an impact. I don't want to see it as a tokenism. No, I believe there are players who play this league who can hold their own, who can give in the. It has happened before. It's not rocket science. It has happened before. 2013. Before then, how many Nations Cup did we win? How many? The ones we won, we had players from the local league play in them. So all of a sudden, we just discovered that no player in the local league can fit into the national team. How many Nations Cup did we win that period? None. The last one we won in 2013, we had players from the NPFL play So why I don't want to see it as technical. I want to see it as something that we ought to do. We ought to do. We have to play them. I mean, these guys are hungry. Perhaps for them, maybe a bit more pushful. When push not to show, boys will show up. That's what the likes of Igwe, Sunday Band, the rest of them would did for us in 2030. We are not patronizing these guys. They merit to be in the national team.
Okay, all right. So let me just go to Austin for his thoughts on the game. I agree with Alfred that friendlies, you don't have to read too much meanings, but I also feel that the word on the street, especially for those who
we read meanings, yeah,
especially for those who waited for those games, didn't sleep, and I mean, especially now we're still hurting from those losses. Not a good way to start. We must say that, but they're friendlies. Let's just leave it at that.
Let me say it again on behalf of the fans that whenever the Super Eagles file out now, we will read meanings. If they play Channels TV football team and the result is not good, the fans will read meanings. And that's because they are hurting. That's because the Super Eagles, they've pumped up their expectations. They shouldn't be playing the way they are playing. And that's why when they were bringing in Pizarro, you see people didn't make too much noise. They say, okay, you want to take this job, just take us to the promised land. And that's why we're saying that it won't be good to start off with 2 defeats. You know, Alfred tried to, tone it down with West Ham started with a defeat. No, you can't even compare the team we had back in the day and what we have now. It's a problem, and it's not just about the players. It's about administration also. It's about welfare. There's so much wrong with the senior men's national team that needs to be addressed. Otherwise, we will continue to see this sort of results. And to buttress on what Alfred said about the home-based players, you can tell now that because the league is doing well, the players are active. Sani got into that team and did well. Ojo Olorunleke is in good form. Rafiu is in good form. Victor Mboma is playing well for Aimba. League will end now. We will start begging the LMC to tell us when it will start again. These are some of the issues that when look away and say the league is not active and all that, some people will misinterpret to be that we are league meets international standards. And that's the only way when these players from the local league meet up with the Alex Iwobis and the Wilfred Ndidi and the Olaino, they will be at the same level. That's what we should be thinking, and that's why we need to look inward some more. Just on a lighter note, I hope this doesn't discourage Pizarro. We don't want those vibes that we saw before these 2 friendly games to drop. He still needs to continue that way as we prepare for Sierra Leone in the AFCON qualifier. He still needs to be a father figure. Tell these boys, pick yourselves back up. These results don't define you. When it matters most, go out there and get the result. But Bafemi Raji said it's time for us to restore for the team, rather, to restore the joy and happiness of the fans. And I think if they come together, play with a unity of purpose, change the mindset, think about country, show hunger, show desire, fight whenever you wear the green, white, green colors. Let these people not keep saying, oh, the days of Kano and Okocha, we miss them. Show them now that you can represent the country and give your best. Then we'll forget those sad days, you hear me?
I have a question for you. I know the answer in my mind, but I'd love to hear you.
Maybe you should tell me your answer.
Do you think the way things are, we're preaching patience? Do you think the average Super Eagles fan is ready to be patient? One. Do you think apathy has already set in? I know the answer to those questions, and I'm afraid to answer them, but your thoughts?
No patience, hear me? I've said it. They are not patient. In fact, someone called me, is in Glasgow, and he said, Austin, when we played Sierra Leone with fans, we couldn't beat them. That he's scared that there will be no fans against Sierra Leone. And he made valid points. He said the same Sierra Leone he saw at the AFCON, it tells you that African football is changing, so everyone needs to sit up. Ghana, because of what happened to them at the AFCON, they had to dust the dust off their shoulder when they were meeting Nigeria and rock everything to make sure they pick the World Cup ticket. Same thing with all of these guys, because they will go back and watch tapes. So no patience anymore, These guys, they want to just see the Super Eagles go out there, get the job done. You didn't do well to an extent. They're saying that they didn't do well at the AFCON because they raised the bar from the group stage. They raised the hopes of football fans, and then they crashed out in the round of 16. That hurts, but they say, okay, it was fair enough, and they didn't prepare so well. Genotro, the way he left and all of that affected the team. They moved on. Give us World Cup tickets. They didn't get the World Cup tickets. Now you think, where are they buying this patience from? They don't have it anymore. They are seeing that it's Nigeria versus Sierra Leone. In their head, they've said this one is 3-0. Give them any other result, you are looking for trouble.
Well, I guess we have to move on. And I hope you touched up on the administrators. That's a direction I don't want to go because I get tired. I lose my breath every time I start talking about it. And I hope we don't get to shoot ourselves in the foot. I made reference to comments that I read, some press release here and there. Sometimes I think, look, these things are easy for us to bear if some people just seal their mouth. Just seal it up. A loss is a loss.
Action. Give us action.
Don't just explain anything. There's no explanation. There's nothing. A loss is a loss. Let's move on. And I don't know. I just don't want to go down that route because it just...
But they have to explain. They have to say something. They need to talk. It's just that, as I said, there's no patience anymore because the fans...
We've lost our patience.
Deserve more, to be sincere.
I'm having wounds and you're poking me again. Of course, I'm going to get angry. I mean, I'm just speaking like an average fan. I mean, I don't want to go there, so I don't start saying things I shouldn't be saying. But guys, let's move on.
Let's talk NPFL. Alfred will be happy with the NPFL.
Let's just talk about the ladies a little before we talk about the NPFL. Let's talk about the girls. That's what you have on your screen. Just one step. And Alfred, I mean, even if you're a prophet, you'll be very scared to bet against our girls. They enjoy a 1-0 advantage. FIFA Women's World Cup qualifier. They won away. They're playing at home. It looks like everything is set for Nigeria to pick the ticket.
It can't be better than this. The girls, Flamingos, right? They are in a very good place. I mean, the Ethiopians accounted for the exit of South Africa. And, they went with that apprehension that this team didn't just, they didn't buy their ticket to the round. They actually won games. And if you win a game, it gives you confidence. And the girls just went in there, they scored, won, kept it tight, didn't concede, which is a good one. So it's just routine. Finish the job in Abuja tomorrow, and you are in the World Cup. And so the thing I like about these developmental programs are that you get to see, this is another generation of players coming through from under 17. Maybe when the tournament comes around, you get to see one or two of them, and hopefully they all mature, make it to the under 20 and possibly the Super Falcons. So it is a great opportunity to see new set of players come in, and hopefully they will just provide the bedrock for the development of the women's game. It's a good one for them. I'm not sure they can bet against them now. Not now that they have this 1-goal advantage against the Ethiopians and playing in Abuja.
Okay, all right. Also,
let me just mention that the girls have scored 15 goals and they've conceded none. They destroyed the Congo, and then they went to Ethiopia and they picked a valid 1-0 win. They look good. Ajakaye is scoring goals. They are connecting well as a team. So, as Alfred said, we are seeing young players. Again, administration. There should be a smooth transition. Let's not start looking for these girls 10 years from now, because remember the talks about the Super Falcons are getting too old. And then you keep seeing young talents. What are we doing? There must be a deliberate plan to make sure that they move up the ranks. So by the time we start doing that, we'll record a lot of progress for women's football.
That's true. Austin, I guess we just quickly listen to the coach of the team, and from that point, we'll start talking about the NPFL.
You watch what they have played there. It's a real fight, and they really give them they run for their money. And now they are here to play against Nigeria. So playing them in their home ground, I will testify that they are a very good side. One, as a coach, I need to give an element of respect to my opponent, and that would make me to take care of them very well. So and taking away complacency. So they are good side. They gave all fights, but the very important thing is for the 3 points. We were able to get that 3 point over there, either by 2 goals or 3 goals. But that one goal has ensured that 3 points. So that's what we want to capitalize on to still make sure that we get the needed 3 points. We can't afford to fail Nigeria. That is the pressure. Nobody gave us that pressure, but the determination. That, as I said, from one side we start this campaign, we set our priority right that we want to make Nigeria proud, and then we want to make ourselves proud. We want to make our family proud. We want to make our career proud. So those are the things that we have set up for ourselves, and the best way to do that is for us to play and qualify for the World Cup. And nobody will know us if you are not in the World Cup there.
We believe we are going to win because there is a lot of things at stake and we are not even ready to miss it. So we are fully ready to qualify for them and ready for them 100%.
Their environment, we're not used to them, but you can see for us to score and on that environment, that shows that we can do it. Here is our land, so expect more from us.
We've been training as we usually do, but we've upped our game because we know Ethiopians they're a good side and we are a better side. So we've been training and we've been preparing. But we rest assured that in our home match we will not have any excuse. So we would usually do what we usually do, score goals.
I like what Coach Olowokere said. If you don't go to the World Cup, nobody knows you. I guess we just leave it at that because it's sealed. Yeah. All right, Austin, quickly, we're pressed for time. Let's go to the NPFL and take us through the matches, what to expect, and let's see the table as well.
That's right. At match day 32 already in the Nigeria Professional Football League. Abia Warriors will welcome Enugu Rangers. Dakada FC will host Shooting Stars. Shooting Stars with a lot of questions to answer after their last game against Remo Stars. Heartland will welcome Aqua United. It's Kwara United going against Katsina United. Already match day 32. MFM will host Lobby Stars. Niger Tornadoes will take on Aimba. Plateau United. Now it's 10 points gap between them and Rivers United after losing 2-0 in their last game in Port Harcourt. They will welcome Kano Pillars, while Remo Stars will take on Gombe United. Sunshine Stars will go against Nasarawa United, while Wiki Tories will play Rivers United. The comfortable, looking good to win the title, Rivers United. And Alfred, I said, if Rivers United can get a result at Wiki Tories, just game over.
They didn't answer.
Alfred?
You can't lead you can't be leading by 10 points at this stage of with 7 games to go. And except it has to be something calamitous for them to throw away that lead. And you look at that Rivers United team, they've lost the least number of games this season, only 4. True. It means they travel well. It means they can hold their own. It means they have the players that can give you troubles, and that's what they did to Dakar the last time they played away. The game midweek they had against Plateau United. I like the way if it is eligible. He said Rivers United. How many times did I call you? I mean, it just tells you that they are the team. I mean, the team of the season and. You can't bet against them picking the result. Now they can, maybe they can be more strategic. Now they have 7 games to go in the league. They look at the table and say, hey, where are the chances? Do we rest a bit of players so that we concentrate all our efforts in 1 or 2, 3 games to see if we can wrap this up? What did it say about swimming, out there in clear waters, nobody in front of them, and they can afford to do what they need to do the needful now to be crowned champions of the NPFL.
We're on the home stretch. We have a few minutes before we wrap things up on the show. Alfred Okoligbe is with us. And, of course, as usual, I do this with my colleague, Austin Okon Akpan. Alfred, let me do a readout. Okay, that's it on your screen. That's the league table Austin was alluding to a while ago. Rivers United leading with 10 points. And it looks like that they're just running away with it with 7 matches to go. And you look at the teams, of course, in that bottom four. Really very dangerous. So, Alfred, let me just quickly reel out this, and in a minute, just give me a response on the LMC handle. A lot of decisions were taken, but I'm particularly interested in the one that concerns 3SC. And it reads, after reviewing the matchday 31 game, 3SC versus Remo Stars, 3SC have breached the NPFL rules and framework, failing to provide effective security, leading to breakdown of order after the game. 3SC also stands the risk of 2 points deduction to last for a probational period ending with the season. 3SC's media officer Tosin Omojola and kit manager Majolagbe Kolaole have been expelled from all NPFL-related activities for a minimum period of 12 months in the first instance. All right, so after that, I want to get your take on what have happened. We saw some very ugly pictures on social media of what happened to a fellow journalist and some of the other issues, the ones we're clear about, the ones we're not clear about. But some have been praising the LMC, saying it was a swift decision to quickly nip things in the bud.
I think the LMC has to be commended for what they've done in terms of the sweetness of the sanctions and all of the things. Those pictures we saw, that was on Wednesday, were just a way of, it didn't portray our league in bad light. And thank God nothing untoward happened in terms of, danger to, journalists in the firing line. I've had that kind of treatment before. I can tell you it's not something that you wish your enemy will pass through. And the LMC have come out, and I think extra vigilance, it calls for extra vigilance because clubs, teams are getting desperate. It's the business end of the league, and everybody wants to either consolidate their position, avoid the drop, win something on the continent. There's something, every game now counts, every point counts, and so desperation will set in. I think in that release, they made some calls, asking clubs what they need to do. And I think they should have to follow that through any infraction, anywhere should be sanctioned, because we want to see thus far, the league has been very, very competitive, very good. We've seen so many wins. We've seen teams pick up points where it would have been difficult. We want a grand slam finish in this league, and as it is now, there's so much at stake for everybody. And so some people might just want to cut corners, and all of the creations you didn't do for your team before the season started, all of a sudden you want to get results at all costs. I think the LMC should be more proactive and set systems and processes in place where all of this can be checked.
All right. Thank you for that, Alfred. Also, we're about to go, but we have, I don't know if you want to comment on that as well. We also have top scorers in the NPFL that you want to take us through.
I think we should just talk about the top scorers in the NPFL, more of the action than the drama that we see outside. So if we can just quickly run that, Rafiu Shak of Rivers United with 14 goals, Abdulafiz Yusuf, Gombe United with 14 goals, Chijoke Akuneto, he's on fire also, scored the brace in that last game against Plateau United. Victor Mboma of Eimba has 12 goals, Valentine Odo of Sunshine Stars with 10 goals. So these are the guys on fire in the Nigeria Professional Football League. But before we go, Casper Ruud got the job done.
Yeah, across the finish line, defeated Marin Cilic, handed 3-6, 6-4, 6-2, 6-2. Casper Ruud in Norwegian.
The rush.
It's true to the final. And that's how we have to wrap things up on the show today. We do hope that you've enjoyed everything we've been able to bring to you. But first, we have to thank Alfred Okoligwe for his time, for his inputs, and for his presence on the show as always.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. Thank you very much, Justin. Good night.
All right.
Good night.
And that's the show. We do hope that we made it worth your while. And thanks for allowing us into your homes without knocking the door. It's a privilege we will never take for granted. It's the last edition of the show for the week. We're going to be here again next week. Till then, we tell you to enjoy your weekend. And, of course, until we'll see you, it's bye for now. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.
Remember to keep the conversation going on Twitter, channels_sports. That's the show. I'm Austin Okonakman. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.